Okay, the breakdown frames are done. And now we're going to start doing some of the more intricate in-betweening. I'm going to show you a new technique here in order to do the in-between of these two heads. Because it's changing direction and because they're not directly on top of one another, there's a trick we can use called shift and trace. First I'm going to create the first new drawing I want by selecting that frame and new drawing. The blank one appears. And over on the X sheet, you can see the drawings we want are number 15, 20, and 17. So I'm going to select those three by holding down Control, right click, and go to Send Drawings to Desk. And you see this tray opens up on the side here, showing just the three drawings that we have. Notice I can flip between them there. And the idea behind this is basically, imagine if you're a traditional animator, you've got tons of pieces of paper in front of you. You take away the 100 and leave just 3. And you're focusing on just those 3 individual drawings. So you take them over to a different desk, and you've got these 3 pieces of paper, 2 of them with these drawings on it, and a blank one. And the easiest way to draw the face in between would be to slide this piece of paper to the left a little bit so that the 2 faces are overlapping each other as best as they can be. But then when you realign all the pages properly, it's going to play the animation as it should. That's what this thing is simulating. Okay, so now that the 3 drawings are in here, activate the onion skin down there, and these controls will highlight. Press the green tick, and you see these pins appear at the bottom? These are representative of traditional animators, like page pegs. Like actual pieces of paper would be held in place by these. And if on this 3rd drawing, I activate this tool here, this will let me pick up the pins and move them about. So with the onion skin brackets moved out far enough, I can move this drawing so that the face is as directly overlapping as I can possibly get it. By holding down Alt, I can also rotate it. Yeah, get it right over there. Okay, so now these 2 drawings are over there. I need to do the same thing for the blank drawing. This is very important because at the moment it's not been aligned to be directly in between those 2 faces. So I can pick up these manipulators again and move those so that each one of those pins is a perfect in between. There we go. Okay, so now I can draw over this face and be completely confident that when I turn the mode off, it's going to snap back to being a smooth movement. The green tick here, if I turn it on and off, you see that first drawing snaps back to where it was. Alright, let's get to it.
So by now you can see this has made the in-betweening process much easier. I can draw with confidence and without having to think quite as hard. Notice how the eyes are directly between the other eyes and the nose is between the other noses. And this will generate a nice fluid head turn when replicated enough times. We're animating it on the spot, but when we're done, it's also going to have positional movement. It's a process that does involve a number of steps to remember, so it isn't something that's going to save a lot of time, but it does yield a better result.
Alright, cool. So you can see if I turn this green one off now, and the pins snap back to where they were. See that? Not only is the head turning, but it's also moving. For reference, down in the timeline view, you can see anything that you put into the tray, the program calls it the desk, it's a good name, is highlighted this pinkish color. So whenever you're done with all those drawings, just hit escape, and the tray closes, and everything just goes back to where it was. But before we close off the desk, we need another in between here, as you can probably see. This blank one here, so I'm going to create another blank drawing, and where is it? Over here. Number 21, is it? Yeah, so the button appears up the top here as well. You can see it will add it to the desk, it slots it in right there. If it appears out of order, these arrows will allow you to shuffle the drawings around so it ends up looking okay. Onion skin back on so we can see everything. And activate the manipulators. And put this in between.
Now we're starting to wrap up the series. Although the bulk of the animation is pretty well only happening now, there isn't really a whole lot more to say. From here, it's continuing to squeeze in more frames and pace them as well as we can, watching the movement and flipping through the frames constantly to keep a feel for the movement and maintain confidence that it's heading in the right direction. Repeat until finished. Remember, not all in-betweens are directly in the center of the frames either side, but often closer to one frame than the other to simulate speeding up and slowing down, without always having to add in more frames. You can see I'm focusing on adding the head frames over all the drawings we've committed to. Here I'm just adding each new empty drawing as I need to continue fleshing out this head rotation. Each blank drawing is added to the desk one at a time, and then, it's just directly drawn in the in-betweens. You can see it's fairly simple, there's just lots of them. Remember that each blank drawing that gets added needs to have its pins realigned with all of the others surrounding it. Okay, so what I'm doing now is having a look at our original layer and trying to sync up the new sketches with that, seeing where there's drawings that are missing and just adding them in and trying to get it as aligned as possible. You can see now that I'm starting to select them all. I'll eventually be adding all of them to the desk and just preparing myself for the next round of drawing, pretty much. Have a quick look at where all the blank drawings lie. I think all the three at the top I'm done with, so don't need those. I'm gonna remove them, but it doesn't actually delete them, it just removes them from that working area. You can see now down at the bottom, each of those pink blocks were what was in the desk, and then there was those three that weren't. So now that everything's there and looking good, I've erased all of them and am now working on the hands. This first couple of frames doesn't need any shift and trace work because it's just kind of there, as you can see. And yeah, I'm just sketching away. Drawing fingers, erasing lines. There's lots of junk, there's not much to say. I'm just trying to fill in the blanks. Notice that the shift and trace gets realigned so the hands are now overlapping, so I have an easier time animating the fingers closing independent of the arm movement. I've decided not to record every little sketch to the end. It would have resulted in either a really, really long and rather boring video, or something that was time-lapsed so fast that it would just be a mess to watch because of all the flipping and zooming and stuff. So instead, there's one more video to go. We're going to spend some time with the finished product. A bit of an interactive tour, I guess. I'll point out some frames added and where to keep an eye out for certain things in your own attempts, etc, etc. I hope to see you then for the roughing and epic punch finale. Thanks for coming by. I hope you got something out of it. If you got stuck somewhere or something was a bit tricky, or if you have an idea for something else you'd like to see in a video, please let me know. In the meantime, you can check out some of my other stuff in those links just there. But thanks again, and I'll see you again soon.